Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Tosh Customs, and today we'll be looking at my custom Marvel Legends scale Blight figure. Blight's actually a DC character, for those who don't know, and he first premiered in the DC animated Batman Beyond cartoon. So if you're not very familiar with him, that's because he's not like a super big comic character, and he's only shown up a couple other times in DC Comics in Batman Beyond series. So he's not super well known, but he's definitely a really, really cool character. And so I was very, very excited to be able to make him. And he presented some interesting challenges that I want to show off. In typical review, I guess, form, I normally go over accessories. He really doesn't have any. The only thing he does have is his little fire headpiece. Comes off, is removable. And that's because I did want to allow him to have the very true to comic form where he's just the skull. I do need to show off though that you can see that there is some indent where the flame effect still sits. Thankfully when he's standing, you really can't see it. So that's really nice. I think the paint helps with that. Some of the paint application helps bring around the curves of the skull. But yeah, so this piece comes on and off. I chose to paint it a green. I realize Skullboy is taking the background, so there we go. So the skull is painted a bright green. It's much more neon in hand. Through the viewfinder, I realized that it looks a little bit darker green, and so does the guy's body. This is much more, in person, it's much more of a lime. And so I don't know why it's showing up a little bit darker, but know that its actual color is a little bit more lime-like. But I decided to fade it out with the white because since his powers are radiation-based, and so I figured I almost wanted it to look a little bit more like phosphorus, like he's giving off a lot of heat. And I know his powers are a little bit more like, you know, quote-unquote, like he's like toxic radiation type stuff, but I thought having sort of that bright burn coming off of him would be really, really cool. So I took a little bit of some stylistic freedom there, some artistic liberty, and gave him this headpiece. And it just gives some different display options for him. And he can be standing like the normal, like how we see him in the show. Maybe he's maybe he's burning up just a little bit. It's a fun little thing to add on to him. And it just pops in. There we go, like that. So it sits up like that. So I think that's pretty cool, but for now, we'll pop it off, put it off to the side, and let's talk about the actual figure and how I made him. So, parts-wise, it's very, very interesting. This body, so the main torso and the lower arms come from the Target exclusive Clear Vision, which I think came in a 3-pack with Ultron and Hulk. So that's where I got the mainframe body, which is clear. If you guys can't tell, you can, if we zoom in, you can actually see some of the internals inside, which is really nice. And that's how he gets the very translucent look, because the pieces are actually clear. So we get it from that. Oh. Sorry guys, accidentally knocked over my camera there. There should be a quick cut if I remember to edit it out. Just splice it out there. But yeah, so clear parts there. These arms, these upper arms here are from a Ghost Rider figure. Just any Ghost Rider figure, he always uses the same buck. This suit coat is from Agent Coulson from the Marvel, the MCU 3-pack, I think with Mariah Hill and Nick Fury. And then we come down to the legs. This upper torso is still the Vision. But then these legs are also Coulson with his suit pants and his suit shoes. So it's a pretty interesting build. A lot of parts got swapped out to make this guy possible, and obviously there's sculpting for his little, I don't know, belt buckle suit area, and then I also sculpted the tattered sleeves. But the interesting part that I was talking about is actually the way all of these pieces size up. There's a lot of internal modification to get this guy to stand and, you know, for all his articulation to work correctly and all that kind of stuff. So let me explain it to you. So the Ghost Rider body is super difficult to pull apart. I know it can be done. I've seen a couple people do it. I didn't want to spend a super long amount of time dealing with that body and pretty much just ripping it to shreds to get the arms out. So because of that, what I did was I actually cut at the shoulder, cut through the beam. I did this for both the Vision body and the Ghost Rider body. Cut through the beam in the shoulder, because the way it works is there's a beam that runs through, and it runs through that inner joint there. And that's what it allows it to rotate up and down, or swivel, hinge, I guess. Hinge is the right word. So I cut both. I removed the Vision one and then had to replace it with the Ghost Rider one. The thing is, the Ghost Rider shoulder, the beam in there is much thicker all the way around. And so since it's inside and internal, I couldn't shave down the Ghost Rider beam. So instead, I actually shaved out the socket from the Vision body. So this body right here, its internals, it's, the shoulder piece is the Vision so that it fits right with the body. So I actually the inside, it's dremeled larger so that the Ghost Rider beam can fit through it, which was pretty cool to do. So, straight up part swapping, you can't even tell. It looks like it belongs in there. So that was really, really cool. The other thing I had to do was make this suit coat fit. If you guys are familiar, the Coulson body, that suited body, is much, much smaller than the average Marvel Legends. I mean, granted, because it's more of an MCU figure than it is an actual Marvel Legends, a standard Marvel Legends body. But because it's so small, what I had to do is his entire back, so like this entire portion here, has actually been sanded down a lot. It's almost flat. Actually to the point where there's actually some give in the suit now. Like you can kind of press in on the suit just a little bit because it's been shaved down so far. But I had to do that there. And then all around the sides of the neck and then the front side of the chest on the sides had to all be sanded down too in order for a suit coat to fit around. So there's a lot of, once again, a lot of internal work there, sanding down the sides and edges of the body so that the suit coat could actually fit on him. And then coming down here, this crotch area, is still the Vision, but then I replaced the suit legs, and so I just had to make sure the inner beam that runs between the legs and through the crotch piece was able to fit on the crotch piece. It's a little tab, and it tabs in, and so that's how your legs don't swing back and forth a ton. Is there's a tab there holding it in place. So yeah, a lot of internal surgery there, which was really, really, really cool, and I'm really happy with how he turned out. An interesting thing is if you boil so clear bodies tend to be made out of a softer plastic. If you boil them, they'll still kind of cook a little bit. Most Marvel Legends bodies will be okay because they're made out of a harder plastic, something more resilient, I guess. But this softer clear body warped a lot too. So some of the sanding was also done to fix all the warping that happened internally, like within the joints and the gears of the body inside. And so it's actually affecting ab crunch and stuff. Now it doesn't affect ab crunch. He only gets ab crunch forward because the suit coat gets in the way in the back. But I was able to keep his ab crunch without there being any paint chipping. So I'm really, really proud of that. The only other really cool thing is just I did seamless joints on him. Kind of as expected at this point. But seamless joints, I sculpted the tattering of the cloth. And then just painted the bones that ran through his fingers and through his arms. I wish there was a way to actually get it look like the bone arm was running through internally, but there really isn't. It has to be, the only way you would be able to do something like that is actually have a fully, custom sculpt where you had the internal bone and then you actually molded an arm on top of that. And I don't think any customizer really has the ability at this point, short of custom molding, custom casting pieces. I don't think anyone has the ability to do that. Also, it would get in the way of your wrist peg that you can see in there. Having some kind of internal bone structure would definitely get in the way of your joints because you have your wrist peg in there. So definitely some things I think, there are definitely some things that would be cool to see inside him, but I don't think with our current technology of action figures you could really get it done. Maybe if everything was on just a ball joint, you know, just a bunch of little ball joints, kind of like how Mezco does it, maybe it would be more possible, but at this point I don't think it is. So I'm really, really happy with this guy. Really, really happy. I mean, I realized besides this sculpted, I also sculpted this piece here. Getting all the square buttons symmetrical took some time, but I'm really happy with how they turned out. Looks really good. So yeah, this is definitely a shorter review, but I just wanted to showcase him. I'm really proud of the build because, you know, on the outside the character looks really simple, but I had to do a lot of innovative stuff in terms of how I set up this body in order to make it work. And I'm really proud of his proportions actually. I feel like it sits very, very animated TV show true to see him with these wider Ghost Rider shoulders, you know, the broad shoulders, sort of skinnier waist, skinnier legs. And so in that way, I think we've really brought the character from, you know, the screen or the page, you know, to actual figure form. And I think I was able to translate that really well. So that's been really fun. I really, really enjoyed this figure. Definitely presented a lot of challenges just in terms of, you know, how do I paint the bones right? I definitely based the look of the bones off of the way the animated cartoon has them, and so it's definitely a little bit more stylized. And obviously, same thing with the head paint. You know, it's not just a straight skull, but it almost looks like you're seeing the skull through some like moving in waves. You know, there's some warping in the paint and stuff. And so all that was really, really fun to do. Very, very challenging. You know, I don't normally paint like that. So definitely a little bit of a test. There we go. Sorry, I have to refocus. Definitely a test of skill, test of creativity. And I'm really, really proud on how he turned out. I think he looks good. I think he looks really clean. I think that's the biggest thing. I wanted to make sure he looked clean. So yeah, that's the end of this review. I want to thank you all for watching. I know it's shorter. I know this guy doesn't have maybe as much to offer in terms of accessory wise, but I'm just really proud of the final look. He's very, very true to form, and that's something I don't do often. A lot of times I'm doing interpretations of characters and stuff. So this guy was definitely different and turned out really, really well. So without further ado, thank you once again for watching. Any support for this channel is great. I know you guys hear it on everything, the whole like, comment, subscribe thing. I appreciate it. Obviously, you don't have to, but yeah, just give me feedback, maybe how I can make these videos better, because I know they're not great. But if you definitely want to see more of what I'm doing, go head over to my Instagram page. I always put my username in the descriptions of my videos. I think I have a link in the About section on my channel page too. And if you don't want to do any of those things, my YouTube page name is Tosh_customs on Instagram. So find me there. I take a lot better care of my Instagram page than I do my YouTube page. So you're going to see probably more like daily-ish content, at least if you watch my Instagram stories. So yeah, check me out. Give me some support. I don't know. Hopefully you enjoy my stuff. And yeah, I think that's all for today. So hope everyone else has a wonderful day, and I'll see you all next time.